Welcome to the Ask Coach Mac podcast, where coaches from around the world get their strength and conditioning questions answered.
What's up, guys? McKeefery here, and welcome to episode number 1 of Ask Coach Mac. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a great question from Erwin, but before we get to that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Iron Grip. If you are in the market for plates and dumbbells, these are my go-to guys. I've put Iron Grip plates and dumbbells in 3 facilities, including my own garage where my family and I work out. I've had nothing but positive experiences with them and love the fact that they are manufactured in the U.S. To learn more, go to www.irongrip.com or call 800-664-4766. All right, here's today's question from Erwin.
Coach Mac, this is Erwin Young, football strength and conditioning coach at the University of Kansas. My question is, when starting a team from scratch, what are some of the principles or things you've done in the past to change the culture of your team, especially when coming off of a winless season?
Hey, Erwin, thanks for your question. I appreciate you constantly learning how to reach your athletes where they are. I think it's admirable that you're taking the time and really digging into finding a way to motivate your athletes through difficult times, because nobody, yourself, the athletes you coach, the university, the fans, like losing. And as you know, people that have been following me for quite some time, I've had a career where we've won very, very big, and currently we're coming off a 1-11 season, and I took over a program that in 3 decades had not won very many games, and so a lot of coaches will run from that. Myself, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of doing. There's a great verse in the Bible that talks about not throwing a light into where it's already lit, throwing a light into the darkness. And I believe that great coaches, it's easy to kind of do it. It's not easy, but it's easier to do it where it's constantly being done, and you have all the resources and things along those lines. But to do it at a place that has not familiar with it and trying to change a culture, I think is very, very admirable, and one of those things that is huge, much more rewarding in the long term. So first, I believe it starts with how you define winning. If you simply define it by the scoreboard, you're in for a tough career unless you are lucky to hitch on to a coach that constantly wins, or a program that only has winning teams. And the reality is just in college or professional sports, there's going to be an ebb and flow and peaks and valleys, and you're going to go through it. And so as a strength and conditioning coach, I think the toughest part, in my opinion, is to go from running every aspect of the football organization or whatever sport that you're working with from January to August or the entire offseason, and then turning it over with no control on game day. I believe you must identify wins and losses by the impact you make on your athletes' lives. If you show your athletes that you care about them more as people than you do as athletes, and you provide them with the tools to improve their athletic ability over time, your organization will win. You will gradually make progress on the field over time, and as you take an active role in the recruitment of future athletes and the day-to-day organizational logistics, you do as much as you possibly can to control the win-loss column. But in my career, early on, it was only about the wins and the losses. But as I've matured through this profession, what's been more impactful have been those times where an athlete will walk into the office 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and talk about the impact that you've made on them in their career, as a father, as a husband, as a citizen. And so I think it's so important that you don't lose sight of that. Doesn't diminish the fact that we're in this business to win on the field and on the court. And so I think you ultimately have to meet them where they're at, and then find what the missing ingredients are, whether or not that's trust, whether or not that's discipline or accountability or whatever it may be, and putting things in place. But you cannot change a culture without trust. And so finding the opportunities to interact with your athletes in the other 22 hours that they have so that you don't fight a losing battle. You have them for 2 hours out of the day. They have 22 hours to mess up everything you just did. So you have to meet them where they're at. You spell love, Time, and what you love, you'll spend time with. So get out of the weight room and spend time with your athletes, forming relationships that mean something both now and 10 years from now. Erwin, I hope that answers your question. Would love to hear what everyone else thinks. Use the hashtag AskCoachMac1 to continue the discussion over on Twitter. Erwin, thanks for your question. I want to encourage everyone else that if you have a question that you would like to potentially be featured on the show, head over to www.askcoachmac.com. There you can ask your question by hitting the record button at the bottom of the page. Thanks so much. I appreciate you for listening. And here's a quote to finish off the day by Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is a progress, working together is success. And I really enjoy that quote and just think that that's really rings true to what we've been talking about today. Take care, guys. I will see you in the next episode of Ask Coach Mac. Bye now.